TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Randy Savage, I first met him in Georgia when I first started out. His daddy brought him there, Angelo, and Lanny was there, and they came in, and I remember Lanny was working at Leaping Lanny, and I think Savage was doing, before he was doing the Macho Man deal, I think he was Spider-Man. That's what he was doing. And then that was for an opposition group in Atlanta at the time. And then I didn't see him again until 1978. I went to Nashville, and Savage was there. And I was a heel, and he was a heel. But they just had god-awful babyface. They had George Goulas. Oh, my God. If any of you guys want to be wrestlers out there, if you ever find a tape of George Goulas, watch it and learn what not to do. God damn, he was just god-awful. He's 6'5". He's gangly. He's horrible looking. But anyway, I started working a deal with Savage, and I went in there, and the place was just deader than Kelsey's nuts. And about 3 weeks later, I worked the angle with Savage, and we're selling out. Right. I mean, we wasn't selling out no 10,000 arena. We're selling out. I'd seat maybe 1,000 people, maybe. But it was selling out, you know. That's a lot of big difference from drawing 150 to drawing 1,000, you know.
Personality-wise, what was he like back then?
Wild. Savage talks a big game. You know, what you see is basically Savage, you know. He was pretty much that way from the beginning.
Right.
His voice has gotten deeper because he's used it so much, you know, screaming and hollering. But he was a... See, I'd done a few hour-long matches before that, but Savage, every night, I don't care where we went, we'd do 45 minutes. 45 minutes, you know. I couldn't talk. I don't want to talk so far. How long have I talked today? 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I'd have trouble talking 45 minutes now. You know, but every night it would be 45 or 50 minutes to that guy. And, man, he's tremendous. He was. And a great interview. You know, he's a type of guy. And I was glad when he went to when he went to work for Vince. You know, he started his own company up there in Lexington for a while, and I don't know how he did there. He finally came back in and he worked a deal with Lawler. That was his whole deal. See, a lot of independent groups set up and they want to knock the established promotion. So he set up and he kept knocking Lawler. And eventually, you know, it paid off. He finally he had a match with Lawler when their company folded up. Then he worked for Jarrett for a while. They did 10,000 people in Lexington Arena, or Rupp Arena. You know, that was a big deal.
Speaking of, this is an off question. Who do you consider the top 5 talkers in the business? Because you were just talking about
in the ring.
In the ring.
Oh, and on the mic.
On the mic.
Well, Dusty would be one of them.
Right.
Jimmy Valiant. Now these are bullshit interviews. Okay? Right. Lawler was a good talker. Vince is a great talker. See, I don't think you can really call Austin a great talker. He just talks in bits and pieces. You know, he don't really drag something out. He just said, "Kiss my ass," or "You silly son of a bitch," or
right.
And Rock the same thing. They just got their little sayings. But as far as a continued dialogue, Arn Anderson is one of the best. I tell you what, we've sort of gotten away from the long interviews. So if you don't hear it, then you sort of forget it. And a lot of guys, that's a new question. I'd have to think about that for a while.
Okay.
And a lot of guys can't talk their way out of a paper bag. So, see, getting back to Austin, let me see. I was telling the guy one time, they said Austin's over so much. Well, he is over. He's over like a son of a bitch. But, see, Austin, I've always said this too, Austin got to cheat a little bit. Because Austin was the first to say, "Kiss my ass."
Think it's cheap heat that got him over?
Well, he was the first one to say it. He was the first one who was allowed to say it.
Right.
Hell, we couldn't say it.
Right.
God damn it, what did you say? I'm sorry, you know, goddamn. Yeah, but he got to say it, so he got to cheat to start out with. And then, you know, The Rock, he says it. But Rock puts it a little more, like he says, "You're an ass, and you're halfway up a monkey's ass." So he's sort of funny with it.
Right. And
they both got different styles, but they're both effective. But when you hear somebody else saying, "Boy, tonight I'm going to whoop you," see, it doesn't have the same effect now. Because, hell, they're just copying somebody else. You get to say it. But Austin was the first one to say it, so I think he would have got over anyway.
Right.
I'm saying he got to cheat a little bit.
TitleMatchNetwork.com